All right. I'm done with Dragonflight, and that's great.
Since Dragonflight came out, we have a roadmap of what the things are. And as far as Project MMO goes, where are we right now?
Project
Let's
MMO.
Go. The first thing I want to talk about is the trading post.
Okay.
I saw this advertised and I was like,
I think this is a great change, by the way, a great addition. Before Preach says anything, I think it's great.
Okay, but probably not for me as somebody who doesn't change cosmetics and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I finally got to check it out and actually see it, and this thing is genius.
Mega dub.
Actual genius.
Yep,
For the
mega
people who want to
dub.
play World of
Huge.
Warcraft day to day, it's easy to say there isn't that much farming if you've done the Renown farm. And as we saw with Dragonflight launch, people were pumping their Renown farm like it was Shadowlands. Like they needed it, otherwise they were missing out on something. And people like grinded it out within the first few days, like managing to cap it by collecting dirt, shuffling through it like Shia LaBeouf, and then managed to... I've got nothing to do now.
I watched that movie.
A classic thing, especially for the collectors who go out and do transmog and things like that and chasing those rare mounts. It wasn't... There's two things I really like about the trading post once I actually got down and looked at it. One, everything is nicely previewed. It shows you everything you can...
It's very polished. It's not like Blizzard. There was like this one intern and it was like kind of his thing that he wanted to do. And it's like, well, he was kind of like one of the executives' like cousins, and he just got out of jail. So we figured we give him a job doing something, and he just put this together. No, like this is actually like really well polished and put together. It's probably one of the most polished things Blizzard's ever put out in a while.
Lock in things that you're not sure if you're going to pick up because you're hoping for something next month, and it depends on your points. All the things that Blizzard typically doesn't do well with predicting people might have a problem with. It's like, well, you got to get it now. Like corruption was like that, right? The corruption vendors, it's like, well, if you haven't got the points, it's going to go away. Unlucky, ha ha ha.
Literal dog shit.
And this time they've come around and said, no, you can lock it in. Fine, it's totally fine. And it's a very obvious sign of the new management that is in at World of Warcraft. It's a very obvious sign of the kind of things like, no, let them lock it in. It's fine. Let's predict that. Some people will be right on the cusp, but they
might not be able to get it. Like, why make it a thing? You know, why make it unpleasant? Guys, let's get a bit of beer back. I was at a fucking gas station, and there were these, there were like muffins, but they were like Reese's Peanut Butter Cup muffins. And they were like $5, so I bought them because they were cheap. Literal trash. I've eaten almost every single one of them. Why keep eating them? It is what it is. That's why.
To afford something next time, or they won't be able to play enough, and therefore they won't earn the points, and they might want to see what comes up next because they kind of want this thing, but they're not too excited about it. And now you can just lock it in and get it done. And a really nice preview. I, in fact, bought something. I had no intention of getting anything from the trading post because I don't particularly care for cosmetics. And I just browsed through and I was like, yeah, I want that. I absolutely do want that. And I was shocked to find that. But more importantly,
I also think it's a good decision for them not to let you buy everything out. So you have to make decisions. And like, you can't just infinitely farm these either. Like, it's capped, and you can decide what you want to do every single week. It's like the trading post is like Chuck E. Cheese, and like your parents gave you, you know, $20, and you've got this many tokens, and you get 750 tickets at the end of it, and you can buy either like a comb or a like a Chinese finger trap, and you get to decide.
Traveler's Log. That's the second thing that I really like about this. It's just rewarding people for investigating parts of the game that they a lot of people will do this naturally, which is great. So it's not.
Yeah, I completed my whole thing. I didn't even know it was done.
Which is what I thought it might be. I thought it was going to be like, oh, go and see the old world because nobody goes there. Go and do that. Go and do this. Go and take part in our seasonal events.
But there are
all there, and that's good to push people to try out things, especially with a game like WoW that's so vast. A lot of people don't really know what's available to them. It was actually one of Dragonflight's core problems when it's released, is the community was just, we're not sure what to do. And then more stuff started to unravel as time went on. It's like, oh, you can farm these like super bosses, and these give you like these really cool items. Now, part of that was a good discovery by the community, but it also led to a lot of nerfs, a lot of changes, because people are like, oh no, we didn't even...
That's all my fault.
Test the stuff in the alpha and the beta, and now people are just hard farming everything and just going like MMO players like ants across the whole hill. So we do have that stuff, but they've also thrown in a lot of stuff that is day-to-day stuff. I was really surprised. They tend to like, or in the past, Blizzard has been very focused on rewarding you very specifically.
Yeah, only for doing the current content.
This is the reward and not much else. And it's been a bit of a problem for a while. It's like you will do, if you're doing Mythic Plus, you will get the vault and some Valor points because that's very specific to that area. If you go over here, you'll get rewarded for just that thing. So ever since BFA, actually, BFA is when they took it out. Legion rewarded you for everything.
Why would you have a shirt of Bolvar? I mean, that's like having a shirt with Luigi on it. He's not as good as Mario. Mario's better. There's no reason.
With artifact power. Like, you would always gain artifact power regardless of what you did, and it was nice. And then in BFA, they took that away. It's like, oh no, if you want Azerite power, well, you must take part in this piece of content. You must do Island Expeditions. You must do this. And they started segmenting it out. So, like, if you fully enjoyed one path, you were only going to get rewarded for that one path. And if you didn't enjoy another path, tough shit, you had to go along that path because it was the only way of obtaining X currency or whatever. Now they've done it, it's like, yeah, it's dungeons, PvP. It's whatever you do. It's doing world quests. You'll still passively generate rewards in case, if you're not fully invested in, like, completing your travel log, that's fine. Your natural gameplay will reward you anyway for giving you, for stuff that you're naturally doing. So you're always going to be building up currency regardless.
Yeah, so you don't have to do things that you don't want to do. I think that's the main thing that, like, WoW has had a problem with for so long, is that their focus was always on making you do something you didn't want to do.
Those two things were really cool. Utterly shocked that it was a bit of a bum that it was bugged for the first few days, and people were like, oh, this is well shit. I mean, it's fine working now. And I'm glad I got to try it out. This is a great piece of kit. In terms of my targets then for World of Warcraft, I am kind of done with what I personally want in terms of Project MMO. Project MMO is what we're doing over the next month or so, which is to clear every raid boss in multiple MMOs to see how they're all diverged and split off to find their own successful path. That's going to be Final Fantasy XIV, where we're currently focused on Savage raiding. We're doing Guild Wars 2, where we're going to be doing the raids and the strikes in that game. We've done one strike in that game, and it was phenomenal. And we're going to be doing Destiny 2 with their new expansion coming out, where they took the base MMO formula and spread it around.
One day I'll play Destiny 2. But in terms of World of Warcraft,
unsurprisingly, I kind of hit my goals extremely quickly. Shouldn't be any shock there.
Yeah,
because
the game
obviously I had established friends and family within World of Warcraft, regardless of where I come back. I mean, there's such a long history in this game that finding a team that progressed through the raid was not a difficulty. I'm not going to be going for Mythic Razageth. Not particularly interested in that. And we cleared Heroic. It was fine. That's a lie. Okay, let's be honest. I like the Heroic raid. I think it was really fun. Group of friends. Enjoyed it, blasted it. Didn't take too long, like a couple of hours for us. Except Razageth. I really did not like Razageth at all.
It's too fucking hard. Like, that's all there is to it. It's too fucking hard. And it doesn't give you really good rewards. Like, you just get 411 gear. Is it easier to do Razageth or do Mythic 15s? I would say easily it's much easier to do Mythic 15s. So why would anybody go and do Razageth? Get good? No, the problem isn't me getting good. It's everybody else in the group getting good. It's like this is the Mage Tower. Yeah, I can learn not to stand in the beam, but did Vinray learn how to not stand in the beam? No, he fucking didn't. And now we have to res him. And I'm mad.
I'm fine with gear overall making progress easier, and I've done several videos over the years about how you should be, after you kill a boss, your gear increase should make that boss easier the following week.
Yep.
Your most difficult kill should be the first one, right? That's a pretty...
At the end of the raid tier, you should just be able to go in there, slap your dick around, and then the raid's over. That's it.
Logical place to be coming from.
Because you earned it.
With Razageth, at least what my team found is that...
This boss is so fucking easy. I don't know why people can't do this. It's so fucking easy. But compared to all the other bosses, it's way harder, right? It's hard and it's easy. It's easy if you have your monitor on. but nobody has their monitor on. So it's extremely hard. But like with Diathia or with like Kurog, it doesn't really matter.
It was essentially just a gear check. And the fight is either almost impossible at certain points. Like, because we got there very, very early with our group setup, and it was very small, and scaling's always a thing. But we're playing with, like, very, very good players who are all mythic clearing players. And we were like, we just kind of just missed the DPS here, even with everybody sort of min-maxing and pushing and doing whatever.
There it is.
On our first week of getting there. And then the next week, the boss just fell over on, like, the first pull. It was very disappointing. Yeah. Because there's so many just DPS check marks in that. It's like you hit certain things in phase 1.
Well, it's that, it's the absorb shield, right? I mean, I feel like the absorb shield is the hard part in phase 3.
Which bypasses a ton of extra damage. You can survive, but like you're getting the hint then, your damage isn't quite there. Yeah. And then the platforms, if you're behind on damage, you simply do not clear the platforms in time to get into phase 2. And then if you scrape through by blowing more cooldowns in phase 2 to get to phase in the intermission to get to phase 2, then you've got the storm shield.
Yeah.
And even with like optimizing there, it was just and then it took like 5 or 6 item levels on everybody from another week of Mythic Plus and things like that, and then the boss just died.
Yeah, and it's like also like with Razageth, if every other fight is way easier, then people just simply are not going to do Razageth. Why would they go out of their way to do Razageth if it's way harder and it gives worse rewards? Nobody's going to do it. That's what happened with the Jailer. It's bad design. Make the fight easier or make it drop way better gear.
I was a little disappointed in Razageth. Visually, very nice. Mechanically, really liked it, actually. I really thought it was fun.
And like this actually really goes to show. I remember Method, at the time, best guild in the world. Okay? They got world first Jihoon in Old Deer, back in BFA. They killed Gahoon like 2 or 3 times, and then they stopped raiding. Because it wasn't worth the effort. We're not going to put in all this effort to kill this shitty fucking boss just to get more, 385 gear?
I liked what I did. I was tanking, and I love tanking, so only Razageth was a bit of a disappointment. I actually didn't mind Broodmother as much as I thought I would. My favorite boss is the Wind boss, though. I really enjoyed that, especially as a prop warrior having disrupted.
Wrong opinion, by the way. Massively wrong opinion. I've never heard an opinion this wrong before in my life. However, what he's about to say is very true. Let's let him say it.
I would. My favorite boss is the Wind boss, though. I really enjoyed that, especially as a prop warrior having disrupting shout. I could gather all the ads really nicely. I could bypass mechanics and stuff like that. It was really...
A prop warrior can solo tank the boss. Because the boss's debuff only stacks up to 5, and you'll have charge or heroic leap up for every single one if you're talented into double time.
Fun. Very much enjoyed that. Well, in terms of my personal goals, in terms of Project M,
the reason why I don't like this fight, by the way, is entirely the color scheme. I hate how you have these like circles here that have the same animation border as the effects on the ground. I think this is horrible design, and I don't think there's any reason that it should exist. I understand for immersion's purposes, but I think that gameplay and game design, like, that is the pinnacle above everything else.
Well, I will say, we've not stopped playing World of Warcraft,
that's why I don't like
somebody's going to come out and say,
the mechanics are totally fine.
No, but in terms of our personal goals, we're kind of done there. That's great. We've achieved what we wanted to achieve, and I'm more than happy to go hard again next season, because I'm not unhappy with Dragonflight. I'll be logging in on a regular basis, do some M+, get my vaults, just steadily work up that way. But in terms of my personal day-to-day goals, I'm good. I'm really good. And I think that is a positive thing.
Yes.
It's exactly what I hoped Blizzard would leave, the taste it would leave in my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why a lot of people are, even if people aren't playing Dragonflight, they feel better about the game because they were able to stop playing the game and not feel like they were losing out on valuable 0.27% DPS increases.
Is that I'm really happy. I have no bad feelings. I've done what I wanted to do, and now I could just sort of maintain. I can spin the wheels for the next season of content. Yeah. And that's cool. And the new season of content looks really good. It looks so fun. We know there's new raids coming. There's revamps coming to classes, and that might give me the opportunity to level those classes and have a play with them because they're changing Paladin, they're changing Druid. All those kind of things are really exciting for me. And that's where I stand right now.
The Rep Paladin changes look really, really, really good, by the way.
Now, I know some people are going to go, oh, so you quit. No, not at all. It's just in terms of our YouTube content and personal focus goals. World of Warcraft is one of the easiest for me to complete because we already had access to all these resources while we were there.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm really happy with Dragonflight. Like, super happy with Dragonflight. There's nothing... The only bad thing... Let's break it down. The only thing I do not like right now is the sheer amount of Mythic Plus needed to get, like, upgrades.
10 Mythic Plus 16s in order to get one 418 item. I think 5 would be better. I don't think 10 is awful. I really don't. I don't think it's awful because it's a guarantee at 16 and above. But yeah, like, I mean, I don't, it's bad on alts. That's very true. And having to do this on multiple characters is very problematic. I think that, again, like, having to do arbitrary farms on multiple characters should be minimized as much as possible. I have a very unpopular hot take that I would not mind if all gear was tradable per account. Instead of gear being soul-bound, it was account-bound. Gear being account-bound in Diablo 3 allowed me to go and maybe play like a Crusader instead of a Barbarian. It allowed me to play a Witch Doctor instead of a Wizard. And I enjoyed the game more because of that. I would enjoy, like, ultimately, I only look at it from this perspective. Would this make me play the game more and enjoy it more? The answer is yes. Absolutely. Oh, but people will be able to raid on 3K. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I would like that more. I'd be able to play the game more. I don't care.
It's a little too much. And if you miss a week because you're focused on something else and you don't have time to do like 10 Mythic Pluses in a week or whatever, and another Spark comes out, it's like another 10 to get an upgrade. And the only other alternative I know of is to go Mythic Raiding. And that will give you both. Now, I get it. It's very high-level gear. It still just feels like too much.
It's a waste of time.
And it feels a little overwhelming. And that's the real thing that I'm not happy with, is because I really like the crafting system. I have made friends. I've negotiated prices. It feels like a community. And I know there's cartels and stuff going on, and we might be doing a little project on that, the cartels. Our team is kind of looking into the cartel thing that's going on. To be done. It's because we're certainly not stopping any WoW YouTube content for now. And looking into that. But personally, I've not run into that issue. I've whispered people. I've had a little conversation with them. And back and forth, we've negotiated a reasonable price. I've turned people down because they're too expensive. I'm like, that's too much, too rich for my blood. Got really good friends with rerolls, and then both...
It's hard for me really to say, like, kind of what my experience is with crafting, because it's so much contextualized around being a streamer. But the system seems like most people that I trust their opinion, people like Preach, and Preach is also a streamer, so his experience is going to be a little bit different. But yeah, I bet you have mad benefits, bro. I tell you something, this is good.
Like high-fiving once we nailed it and got the right piece of gear. All that stuff has been great.
A lot of people
really cool. It's just getting the resource. Again, it's one of those things that feels like 10 is a lot. Right? You're looking at 20 to 30 minutes a run. That's a lot of time commitment, but I understand. Plus, I will say this. I understand it's supposed to be a long-term progression path.
Yeah.
But you have these sparks coming in just sat there, and you're like, I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to have that. Kind of want to make it.
I'm in that position right now, but the truth is, I'm not really farming. Like, I'm not farming that hard. I'm not trying that hard. I think that what would make it a lot better is if you had a more casual option. So, like, for example, but let's see. Can we do a triangle here? Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll do one like this, right? And so it would be really nice if, like, right now, because, like, we have primal, and this is concentrated. I was about to. Okay. CENTRATED primal. Okay, right. It would be nice if we had another one that we could put into primals. So it's like you could do like, we're not acronyming that one. But anyway, like you could do like 10 of those. You could get them to like world quests or something like that. And that would build up into a primal infusion. And then you could put 10 primal infusions together to make concentrate primal infusion. You know, pyramid. So like you could at least progress a little bit without having to do the high-end content. Because like I don't think it's a big deal, by the way. I really don't think it's a big deal that like a casual player gets a 418 piece of gear. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because like I'm fully stacked with 421s. And if I want a mythic raid, I'll have 424s. Who gives a fuck? They get one good piece of gear. In classic WoW, because you're casual, yeah, well, most people are casual, so they should do what I want. So anyway, like in classic WoW, if you're a casual player, you get Lionheart Helm. You get, if you raid Molten Core, you get the fucking Onslaught Girdle. You can have Thunder Fury. You don't have to raid Nax, and you'll still have a few pieces of gear that are really, really good. Best in slot, even.
It works. So I think it's not even a bitter taste. It's just, it feels a little too much. It feels a little daunting. And a pressure on myself is what I would say is I feel a pressure on myself to be like, oh, I think at this point, I need to do like 25 Mythic Pluses.
I think it also kind of feels shitty because people probably are assuming that like next patch, we're just going to have to do like 10 more, you know?
To get a couple of upgrades. I'm like, that's a lot, dude. That's a lot. And if I really want those upgrades without having to, get into an organized Mythic Raid situation, that's kind of a bummer. Especially as it's not actually up to Mythic Raid quality. It's close. It's good, but it's not quite
It's not that good.
I was like, nah. I'll do it slow and steady.
Yeah.
That's my plan. I'll lead it up. I'll take the approach that I advise for you guys is we'll do it over the course of leading to the next season.
Right.
To get ourselves ready. But more than happy with Dragonflight. I've had a really good time. I have. I'm not chilling on WoW because I'm unhappy. And that's a really cool place to be.
Isn't that crazy?
All right. Well, thank you very much for listening. See you again.
When was the last time Preach made a World of Warcraft video where he smiled?
This thing is fucking genius. You don't want me to swear, do you? I know what you're thinking. It's like, swore in the first start.
Isn't that crazy? Like, he's actually smiling in a World of Warcraft video? That's nuts. Can't believe it. Yeah, centuries ago. Yeah. Back in the Dark Ages. Holy fuck, man. Dragonflight is smiling. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I feel like most people have been very happy about Dragonflight. Or at least most of the people I've talked to. I could be wrong about it, but overall, I think it's great. I'm happy. I totally agree with everything he's saying. It would be nice if they could... this is the way I feel. Is I think that farming out 20 plus 16 dungeons to get your gear the first time is totally acceptable. Totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. However, doing it twice sucks. It's the same thing I've said with a lot of things. Farming something once is fine. Farming it twice is bad. That's it. I did 56 times. Yeah, that's a bad time. That's it, man. Reps should be account-wide. Yes, I think almost every single thing should be account-wide. I think it's a Tataru video. Oh, my. I don't know what that is. Yeah, farming it twice is shit. Exactly. So that's what needs to be fixed. Feels great knowing I can feel done without feeling like I'm behind. I still feel a little bit behind right now. I've been on that too much Mythic Plus since Shadowlands Vault was previewed, even after they reduced it. Well, the thing is, it's just not proportional. Doing a plus 20 is way easier than doing the Mythic Raid. It just is. So why would somebody go and want to do a Mythic Raid? It's like, for whatever point that you're at, unless you are clearing Mythic Razageth, for whatever point that you're at, the odds are that the effort required to get the equivalent reward in Mythic Plus is easier. That's it. That's what I think it is. Also, I made 100 of them. Completely useless. Can't send them my alts. Yeah, you should be able to send them to your alts. Why not be able to send them to your alts? So recently you've been for mega servers. I remember asking about an Allcraft a while ago. So what made you change your opinion? I've been for mega servers, and when did I say that I didn't want mega servers? I think that everybody should be on the same server. There is no value and no improvement to a player's experience that being segmented away from like one person is or other groups of people is creating. Yeah, so one guy, well, yeah, it was one guy in chat asked a question and I responded to it. That's the way it works. Like, I take questions from chat and then I read them and I respond to them. Yeah, most questions are one guy's. Yeah. Anyway, what about GTA Online having bad player lobbies? I mean, maybe, I don't know. I'm sure there's definitely little ways they could improve it. But yeah, Dragonflight is good. I played it pretty good amount. I probably played Shadowlands more and I enjoyed it less. So you can take that for what it is.